This is here for a package we've never done before. This is going to be the first one that we've done, maybe the first one that's ever been done. We're going to put a Honda Fit motor in this. Customer wants this as a daily driver, doesn't want a ton of power but wants more power than the factory inside, and of course the hybrid pack is already filled, and he doesn't want to keep putting battery packs in there. Plan for this is the Honda Fit motor. Key with all of our builds, has to work, it has to run, air conditioning, power steering. He also wants cruise control, wants it to be as OEM as possible. Well, you probably can't hear anything I'm saying because there is a crazy storm going on outside, which is a complete change for living in Florida. We don't get a lot of crazy rain during the August months. Anyway, this is what the engine looks like. This is coming out today so we can make some preliminary measurements to see what we have for the new motor. So this car had a second battery in the back, I'll show you that later, and it had some power wires going from front to back. Well, now we just untied the plastic panels. This is the wiring. So I think we're doing him a favor by taking these out or refiguring the whole system, because this is borderline dangerous. Alright, still taking stuff off the little red car that we are calling the L-Site. This is the ginormous battery that was in the back. Those power wires that were underneath, they're going to this. Look at the size of that battery. I know this was a hybrid car, but that battery would probably run this car. Some more power wires in here. There's a bunch of junk that comes out of it. Will not be going back in. I'll tell you what's interesting, George drained the transmission fluid in the car. Is this transmission or engine and transmission?
That's everything.
Wow, that's what was in the engine and the transmission. It's kind of hard to give you an idea how much is in this. We use this green bucket all the time. That is probably maybe a quart. That's engine and transmission. So the engine probably wasn't having a good time not running enough fluid in there. So more stuff to come out. We're still debating what to do with this battery. We're going to talk to the customer, see if he really wants that battery, or if we can talk him into maybe a small one over in this area. This is where we put the K-Site battery. It would go here.
And there it is, out of the car. This is 3-cylinder, 1 liter. Doesn't do much in the production of torque, especially without the battery. With the battery in, it'll do about 60 horsepower to the wheels and close to 90 foot-pounds. And there's where it gets all the torque from, right here. These big long orange things. But if that's not working, this car will barely get out of its own way.
Here is the throttle body, and as George just pointed out, I almost forgot, I gotta make a throttle body cable bracket. Gotta make sure that cable hooks up to the bracket so the throttle will work. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you'll know that I'm being silly. There's my flange. The 4 holes are drilled and tapped. You see X marks the spot. You know what that means? Okay, listen.
My polarizer lens.
This is a big. Right now, we're having a big discussion about this whole solar eclipse. You can come in on this conversation.
I can.
Yes. That's just sitting there right now. Listen, this is videotaping. This is an experiment. I want to save everyone the headache.
Okay.
Okay. This is what I'm going to save you the time, and you don't have to buy the glasses because I'm going to do it right here. Here it is, right? We have the sun. Get ready. It's coming. It's coming. There it is, folks. There it is. Take a picture. Take a picture. It's coming back. And we're back to normal. So we have the engine somewhat mounted in. We've got just some preliminary brackets. We've got the motor centered where we need it, and started building the brackets Basically what we'll do is make some rough brackets to hold it, double check everything, check the clearances, and then remove one bracket at a time and reproduce it in the correct material. Manifold I'm working on right now, you saw that earlier. Trying to keep this somewhat of a small plenum, and the throttle body, I'm basically building this here. I'm going to build a flange and put the throttle body here, and then this water outlet here, I'm going to cut that and actually point that down this direction so it can go to the under the manifold. That's going to go to the upper radiator hose, but it's going to come down and loop around, so don't worry about that hitting, that will be moved. So I want to get that figured out here and finish making my throttle body bracket. This is the throttle body. It's a factory fit throttle body, so I went slightly oversized just in case we don't need it to this cutout here. We're not utilizing it, so we went a little bit bigger just in case in the future this does get bored out, but that's how that goes right there. And tapped and threaded those holes, so we're in good shape. So this is the unique, I've never seen one of these before, but this bolts to the head. It's kind of funny, there's 3 hoses all in one, and obviously the thermostat sits in this one. That is actually angled. What I need to do is angle this down. So what I'm going to do is cut it on that angle, and then this aluminum piece, flip it so I can angle it at about a 40-degree angle so it clears my throttle body. Alright, so that was my angle I showed you. See, a pretty close angle. So that used to be here, but by cutting that angle, I can do that. Get my pipe clear of my throttle body, and we'll weld that back on. So one of the things when you're putting a different motor in a car, you gotta come up with a radiator hose option. This is one of the tricks that we do to try and figure out the hose orientation. Cut the hose, put a piece of aluminum between it. Then I have a parts store local that know me. Been going in there for years, and basically let me wander around the back and select the hose, find a hose that fits the way I need it. So if you take this, adjust this on the car the way I want it, you know, it's kind of a looking at it this way, it's kind of going to be like that. That's kind of the bends I need. This was a hose that was this way, so I need it like that. I'm going to put it on the car, tighten it, and then try and get a hose like that. I like to use a factory one-piece hose, well, not a factory, but a molded one-piece hose. To sell that corrugated stuff that bends any which way you want, and it's kind of like a universal hose. I don't like it. It looks like crap. It's got the ribs all the way through. It just looks stupid. I'm not going to tell you what I call that hose, but it's not the right way to do it. I like this. So this is going to be the bottom hose. Top hose is pretty simple. So I'm going to put this on the car and go search through the hoses. So after a little bit of digging, I cut that down, but that is pretty much our hose. That is perfect. I'm going to go put it on the motor now. That sounded impressive. So right now we have the factory inside cat we're working with. This used to neck down pretty small here. It would neck down to about 1 7/8 inches. Well, when we cut that flange off, this actually opens up to a little over 2, which is perfect because that is about the size of the outlet. Actually, it's a little bit smaller, but we're going to go from the fit manifold and make a new tube and connect to the Honda inside cat. So now the cat is actually a little bit larger, and it still be functioning the way it should be, but we're going to have more airflow. So that's pipe George is working on right now. Right, there are the radiator hoses on. Look at that, one-piece hoses. And we actually got this hose to dip down here, so we have room for an intake. So again, modified both of those, the inlet and outlet, from that little block off piece. And just if you guys end up working on one of those, that's the worst cast known to man. I think they cast it out of the garbage can. Look how good the motor's looking in there. Motor is pretty much centered now, all bolted in, nice and tight, and it's rubber mounted. No harsh mounts, nothing. It's gonna rattle your teeth out while it's idling. Stainless benches that we use to assemble things and build things, and the problem is before you know it, every tool you own is out on the bench, and then you start going in the toolboxes and there's nothing left. So it's kind of like a move stuff around, clean up, regroup, get back to it. That's one of our checklists. That can go. That was from car number 40. Preference kit number 40. I don't know if by the time this is uploaded, if that car is done. But if it's not, look out for it. Preference kit number 40. It was a blue S2000, real nice car. If it is up, go ahead and look for it. It's going to be called Preference kit number 40. Imagine that. It's kind of easy. So back onto S2000 V8 project. A good friend of mine gave me this a long time ago, maybe 12 years ago. As you see what it is, it's a crankshaft holder. The B-Series crankshaft fits in here perfect, allows you to measure the clearances and work on it without the crank rolling around and getting damaged. But yeah, a good friend of mine, Bert, if you're watching this, Bert, thanks. I still use this. This S2000 came in, we're actually putting it between jobs, but it came in for an oil change, one of our good customers. And I get asked the same question: what oil should I use? What filter should I use? Well, I already showed you just recently which filter to use. Gotta use the Honda OEM filter. When it comes to oil, okay, this is what I use. I use Mobil 1. Use whatever oil you want to use. Use AMSOIL, use Royal Purple, use Redline, whatever you want to use. I prefer synthetic, but change it regular. Don't go 6,000 miles on a change. You're not doing yourself any favors. And also going a year between changes. Even if you're only running 3,000 miles and it's been a year, that's no good. The oil condenses, pulls in moisture, breaks down your oil. Change your oil regular. My opinion, every 3 months, 3,000 miles, period. I use this. I use Mobil 1. I've been using it for 20 years. I've run it in everything I own. I pull motors down. I see what they look like. It does a fantastic job. But use whatever you want. Use Walmart oil. Change it regular. That's the key. Regular. Piece of pipe. So here we are. Little intake is sitting there. It's going to go into the battery box. Now, most of the time we see this. People build an intake, that's it, it's done. Put the clamp on there, hopefully the clamp holds it in position. What happens? Time, heat, vibration. This thing works slowly down until it sits on something, rattles, rubs a hole in the filter, rubs a hole in the pipe, or all of the above. So what I'm going to do is attach a bracket. There's a threaded hole right there. I want to bring this to the angle that I want. Build a bracket on there, which is attached to the engine. Everything will be supported. Put a little tap. Ready? Good. You've seen our K site, how we kind of put the word in and the letter in from the inside. We changed it to K. Well, here's the lettering, just came in. We kind of kept with the same theme, but the L is green. It stands for eco, green. Putting it together right now. The harness is going back on. The wiring modification's been done. Still some more to do. Fuel system is hooked up. Water hoses are hooked up. I'm getting texts as we speak that are not related to the car. So we should be able to crank this thing up real soon. So
I don't need that problem.
we all need that problem. So it's 10 to 10. And things are getting deep. Now, when I say deep, it's literally up to your knees deep in there. Like you can't even get in there. So communication is happening right now. We are uploading a new file to the ECU. So we're not going to give away any secrets or any tricks because we don't know them yet. But when we do, in typical LHT fashion, we're not going to tell you how we did it.
I'm going to need that.
1120. We beat our last record, Steve. It's 1120. Keep rolling on. We've still got a few more things to figure out on this car, so we're going to leave it there and leave this battle for another day. So we're doing another upload. Steve actually figured out how to get the immobilizer, so there's no tricks, there's no special boxes. We did a bunch of searching to see if anybody made an immobilizer defeat. and nobody makes it for this ECU. So basically what has happened is the immobilizer is wired in, the key has been rekeyed to the ECU, so the immobilizer is sending a signal to the ECU that the ECU wants to see. So the ECU is happy and it lets the car start up. So we're going through a few of the little codes and looking for bugs right now. We're going to go ahead and start the engine up here in a second. Just waiting for this next map to load. Alright, that there is the L side, and that is the K side. This of course is the K side, the all-wheel drive one. This one is 500 horsepower. This one is around 100. Realized here at the end of the run you saw the smoke come out. The engine that was previously in this car actually blew up and put oil in the tailpipe, so I think once we do a couple of more runs that'll clear up. 197. Nice. So this is what a stock Insight runs with a fully charged battery pack, which of course is the red line. See, what's nice about the hybrid, it gives you instant torque, but the problem is the torque falls off. This is what we have right here. Stock Insight 67, the L-Sight is 101. So that's what, 40 horsepower. Well, 30 horsepower. So also what we're looking at right here is the blue. This is our fit line. This is our torque on our L-Sight right here. You see how straight this is? And it's above 90 foot-pounds most of the way up.